any government, including the ones that my ancestors come from. So that's my position. That does not make me an anti-Semite. And shame on you for suggesting otherwise. And I mean that. And that's low, and you know it's low.
Damn.
So why don't you just answer my questions
I'll answer
in a straightforward, rational way? You certainly have the IQ to do it.
So shame on you is cute, by the way, Tucker.
Hey, Ted Cruz got the IQ of room temperature, okay? So, like, that's not really saying a lot right there. That wasn't a compliment, Ted Cruz. So let me start off. Let me start this video off with a disclaimer, okay? Because I don't want anyone for any second of a thought to think that I would ever consider someone like Tucker Carlson as an ally in any measure. Zero. I don't care if we both agree that it's a beautiful sunny day outside. I will never would say, I don't even want to have the thought of me being in agreement with a racist piece of shit like Tucker Carlson. He is racist, and I've been watching him for the past 10 years. This is an individual that has already crossed that threshold of, is he racist? Is he just manipulating the media? Is he just doing this just for the money? This dude is racist. That's simple. Okay, so let's just get that out the way. But, hey, this dude, Tucker, okay, this effort right here, Tucker the fucker, okay, he cooked the hell. He destroyed the hell out of Ted Cruz. It wasn't even close. Now, once again, Ted Cruz is like, it's easy pickings. Okay, like Ted Cruz, Ted Cruz probably couldn't beat Ted Cruz, but like someone fresh out of high school could serve up Ted Cruz. So like, that's not really but just the way that Tucker Carlson did it, which a lot of progressive, once again, need to take notes. This is how we need to be conducting ourselves when we're talking to idiots like Tucker, like Ted Cruz, like JD Vance, like Joe Rogan, all these dudes. We need to hit them hard. Don't have let's just have a friendly conversation. No, you check their ass right there, like we about to see, and you call it out. You don't pass go. You don't collect $200 until you figure out whatever lie or misinformation that they're promoting. Cut that shit right there. And you make a mockery of that person. No more playing nice with these people. And Tucker Carlson does it well. Now, here is the problem. Okay, here's the problem. Hear me out. When it comes to Israel bombing Iran, this is where you're starting to hear a lot of conservatives, a lot of Republicans, even, Tucker, people like Tucker Carlson are mimicking exactly what some liberal Democrats, but 99.9% of progressives been saying since day one. Hey, when it comes to these nonsense wars, we as Americans, as the government, should not partake in whatsoever. Now, once again, I'm not a Middle East expert. I'm still trying to read up on some things. Like, shit, I just got off work, 9-hour shift. You know what I'm saying? I got to take care of my family. I got a lot on my plate. So I'm slowly learning some things, okay? I should have learned this in school, but I didn't. I wasn't paying attention, okay? But at some point, yes, I understand we got allies. We get that. I actually understand we as a world need to have allies. I get it. That's probably for another conversation, but at some point, we need constrictions. We need constraints. We need some sort of bumpers for these individuals like Israel. Look what they're doing after they desecrated, obliterated, genocided an entire population. Now they starting some wars, or they're trying to start a war with Israel. By the time you watch it, I don't know what's going on, but and it's like, okay, Iran is trying to create some nukes. But when it comes to Benjamin Netanyahu, how many times did he cry wolf? I wish I would have wrote down the dates. But since today, what did he like 4 or 5 times? Oh, they're 60, 70% ready to create a new. Okay, then you said it again. Then you say it again. Then you say it again. Now you're trying to prevent an attack for your defense, for your self-defense. But self-defense needs for someone to attack you first. You can't just go around knocking fools out claiming self-defense. That's not how that works. But once again, I'm not a Middle East expert. You know what I'm saying? I'm just on the outside looking in after work, eating dinner like, hey, this doesn't add up here. You know, so Tucker Carlson is going to flame. It's going to just make a mockery out of Ted Cruz. And then they get into super PACs. Once again, when it comes to super PACs, there should be none, zero, not a dollar from these corporations, from these billionaires shouldn't be funneled, unlimited. The Citizens United versus Federal Elections Commission in 2010, unlimited. That is crazy. That's the breeding grounds for corruption. Like point blank period. You know what I'm saying? And 349 of our politicians, of our congressmen, receive money from AIPAC alone. That's 65%. Once again, Tucker Carlson is going to roast that ass. Overcooked, actually. That ass is overcooked at this moment. You know, so I had to turn on the AC just to watch this again. So, okay, without further ado, I'm done with my rant right now. Let's go ahead and see this massacre. This was nasty, bro. Like,
question: Israel spies on us. Well, so does every other country. Why are you mad at Israel?
I guess. No. I'm hardly the one who's. I've never taken money from the Israel lobby. Have you?
Taken money from the Israel
from AIPAC?
So AIPAC raises a lot of money for me, but it's actually a misnomer because the people who raise money are individuals. Right. So it's not the PAC itself, but they're individual members who believe in the American-Israeli friendship and relationship.
Is AIPAC a foreign lobby?
No, it's an American lobby. It's the AIPAC stands for the America-Israeli Political Action Committee.
What does it lobby for?
So, to be honest, not a whole lot effectively. Listen, I came into Congress 13 years ago with the stated intention of being the leading defender of Israel in the United States Senate.
Great.
And I've worked every day to do that. AIPAC, a lot of times, AIPAC, I wish were much more effective. Like, there are folks online who are in the fever swamp of terrified of AIPAC, and AIPAC...
I'm not terrified of AIPAC at all. You're the one who seems a little uncomfortable when I'm asking.
No, not uncomfortable at all.
I'm just asking what AIPAC does. My understanding, having known a lot of people who work at AIPAC, is that it lobbies on behalf of the Israeli government.
Wrong.
Oh.
Wrong?
Okay. America has thousands...
Okay, I'm glad he went to commercial here. He said wrong. Let's go ahead and verify this. Let me just skip. Oh my God, hey, I need some sponsors, okay? Like this dude got like
that's tuckerforhillsdale.com to enroll for free.
So let's go ahead and take a look. Because I had to look this up myself because I really don't like the whole hearsay. You know what I'm saying? I want to, if possible, go to the source and read it myself. Let's take a look here. Operation Rising Lion. Israel's war to protect the world from a nuclear Iran. Keeping Israel safe and America strong. This right here. Okay, once again, I'm not the smartest person in the room, okay? I'm not the sharpest knife in the kitchen. But this sentence alone should tell you their mission plan. Keeping Israel safe. Okay, my wall kind of curves there. Safe, right there. Let's go ahead. Look at this little slide right here. Building bipartisan support for the U.S.-Israel relationships, a national movement with more than 3 million members, the largest pro-Israel PAC in America. Damn. Okay. Supporting pro-Israel Democrats and Republicans, lobbying for the pro-Israel policies. Ted Cruz, Mr. Teddy Bear Cruz. Have you not seen this website? I'm just a little confused because this kind of tells you lobbying for pro-Israel policies. Need I say, okay, I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory. But hey, let's let Tucker finish this, okay? Finish him.
When was the last time AIPAC took a position that deviated from Prime Minister Netanyahu?
All the time.
Name one.
Okay. Let me go back and give a little history. If you want to do a deep dive on AIPAC,
I don't. I want to do a shallow dive that gets.
No.
I want to get to the core question. AIPAC is lobbying for a foreign government, and I don't. It's not. It's lobbying for the United States.
It is lobbying for a strong U.S.-Israeli relationship.
Okay, so it's not has nothing to do with the foreign government.
It wants America and Israel to be closely allied.
Okay, but it's lobbying on behalf of the interests of another country.
So that's not true at all. And if
it's not true.
No.
How much contact do you think AIPAC leaders have with the government of Israel?
No idea.
You have no idea? You telling me you're receiving, hey, actually I got the numbers here. You're receiving money from Israel. Let's take a look. I'm at, on open source, I could get lost on this website, okay? It's just so much interesting figures and numbers here. Let's take a look. Mr. Ted Cruz. Can you guys see that? Ted Cruz, Texas. You receiving that kind of money and you don't know an important question like that? Wouldn't that be like the first, maybe the fourth question you would ask yourself or ask them, like, hey, are you guys fighting or lobbying for policies in the behest of Israel? Are you guys contacting each other to get us to jump through some hoops for you guys? Simple questions. But then I don't know from a dude raising this kind of money. What is? Damn it, what is, okay?
I imagine I think the government of Israel is often frustrated with AIPAC because AIPAC's not nearly strong enough.
Do you think there's any coordination between the government of Israel and AIPAC?
Yes,
Do they talk? Sure. If you're lobbying for more U.S.-Mexico trade, would you talk to people in the U.S. and Mexico and the government? Sure. Like if...
So I'm not mad about that. There are a million countries that lobby Washington. I like a lot of those countries, including Israel.
But AIPAC are Americans. They're not Israelis.
Hold on. There are tons of Americans who lobby on behalf of foreign governments. I know them. I'm related to some of them. I know how it works. I'm from here. So my question is not, is it outrageous that foreign governments lobby the United States? They all do, okay, including Israel. My only question is, why don't we admit that is what's happening? You're denying it, but it's true.
Yeah, and why aren't you're saying is false.
Why aren't they registered as a foreign lobby?
Because they're not.
They're not a foreign lobby.
No, they're
honestly,
not. And
I don't care about them being registered. We should not be allowing these type of super PACs from foreign or home to be funneling millions of dollars to these politicians. That should be a no-no. Like, once again, you got to be careful because many people are going to be like, yeah, I agree with Tucker, but your agreement isn't the same as his. You see what I'm saying? Take all that money out. Would he be down for that? Probably not. So once again, like, he's only putting this pressure because it's not American first. You see what I'm saying? But let's continue. We gonna get into that ass too.
And this is that there's a fever swamp. Look,
it's not a fever swamp. These are very reasonable questions, and you've accused me of being obsessed with Israel, which I'm not.
I actually haven't. I've said
and of being
isolationist
feverish about it, which I'm not at all. I find it's a very tender spot when you ask it, and I don't know why.
So, Tucker, all right, let's go back. I was first elected to the Senate in 2012. I came in Obama's second term. And I actually saw AIPAC be badly wounded in a way they never came back from. And the second term is when Obama did the Iran nuclear deal. And the Iran nuclear deal, I think, was catastrophic. And AIPAC went all in lobbying against it.
Yeah.
And They failed. And I was the leading opponent of the Iran nuclear.
Oh, I know. They definitely failed, yes.
They failed. And what happened, the Obama White House told every Democrat, when I got here, there used to be real bipartisan support for Israel. That has largely disappeared. And it's the Obama nuclear deal that caused it, because the Obama White House told every Democrat, pick. You either stand with Israel or you're a Democrat and you stand with the Obama White House. And almost every single Democrat member of Congress said, I'm a Democrat first, to hell with Israel.
What? Okay, once again, I don't believe him, but looking at the numbers today, there is plenty of Democrats that bow the knee to Israel. They receive that money. They getting that money. So once again, like, okay, I guess in 2016, okay, got you, but that doesn't show now. And we've seen that happen in real time with real progressives. Hey, if you're a real progressive, hey, get knocked out of races due to AIPAC. So, I mean, I'm just a little confused, but okay, whatever. It's stupid anyway, so.
And then I watched as AIPAC, every one of those Democrats got reelected and AIPAC did nothing about it. And it dramatically reduced AIPAC's influence.
I agree. I watched it happen.
And by the way, I told AIPAC, I said, look, the analogy, if the NRA was supporting a bunch of politicians and cared about the Second Amendment, and you had politicians that vote to confiscate people's guns, and the NRA turned around and raised money for the people who voted to confiscate guns, you know what? No one would ever care what they said again.
So you're making the case that AIPAC is not as powerful as people say it is, and I completely agree with you.
They said for the people who voted to confiscate guns, you know what? No one would ever politicians that vote to confiscate people's guns. And the NRA turned around and raised money for the people who voted to confiscate guns. You know what? No one would ever care what they said again.
So you're making the case that AIPAC is not as powerful as people say it is, and I completely agree with you. I've watched that, and I'm not making the case that AIPAC is all.
Once again, we've seen progressives who do not receive money from AIPAC get knocked out of races due to the funding specifically from AIPAC. And once again, look up the stories. Jamal Bowman, I forget the other gentleman's name. Having a brain fart, but go look it up. They had interviews talking about it in depth. So once again, these are liars, these are idiots, but it's entertaining.
All powerful, and they're running everything and putting fluoride in the water. I'm not making that case at all, because that's not true. I'm only trying to get to the question of what AIPAC is, and I don't think you're being straightforward about it. AIPAC is lobbying on behalf of the interests of a foreign country, and they're not registered. And you're saying, no, that's not true. You're saying that they don't coordinate with the Israeli government.
Of course, I coordinate. Do they talk with them? I don't know what they do. I can tell you.
But why don't you care? Isn't it meaningful if a foreign government...
Hey, I talk with Israel all the time. I talk with foreign countries all the time.
But the law is, and a lot of people have been prosecuted under this law, that if you are lobbying on behalf of foreign government, you must register. That's it. It's really simple. And I don't know why, if I'm working for Malaysia or Qatar or Belgium, and I'm working on behalf of its government's interests through a group of Americans who are representing the friendship between those two nations, I have to register under the Foreign Agent Registration Act. And if I don't, I can go to jail. And people have gone to jail, including people I know. So I don't understand why we don't just be honest and say they're lobbying on behalf of a foreign government. They're coordinating with the government. You know that that's true.
That is not only not true, that is false.
They're not coordinating with the Israeli government?
Do you know how AIPAC raises money?
What?
For elected officials, like what they do, like what the actual mechanics is?
I mean, they go to people who are sympathetic to Israel and raise money and then send it to candidates who agree with them.
So what they'll do is, so in my last election, AIPAC endorsed me. And they'll host a fundraiser. And they'll host a fundraiser in Dallas or Houston or Atlanta or New York or LA. And they'll do a fundraiser and they'll get someone who will host it. And it's usually a business owner, lawyer, doctor, someone who hosts it. And you get typically at an AIPAC fundraiser, 30, 40, 50, maybe 100 people who live in that city.
Right.
Who care about a strong U.S.-Israel relationship. Yeah. And if they have, 50 people, each of them writes $1,000 check. And you raise $50,000.
Yeah, I've been to an AIPAC fundraiser. Okay. I know what it looks like.
But that is not, and by the way, there's no representative of the Israeli government there. You have, when you're in Dallas, you're meeting with...
This is such a false and silly conversation. I know all this. The question is are AIPAC's goals shaped by the goals of the Israeli government to any extent.
Yes. Ted Cruz. See, this is an idiot politician here. If you're going to do something, if you're going to represent whatever the case is, the Second Amendment, First Amendment, Israel, whatever the case is, do it with your chest. Don't be scared beating around the bush. Well, technically, like, they're not like really, it's not really like that. Just say, yeah, bro. Yes, I'm getting paid and I want to defend Israel. Whatever. Just say it with your chest. Stop being scared. And that's why nobody likes Ted Cruz. And after this interview or this one-sided debate, for sure, Ted Cruz is going to have no supporters. Zero. I don't know how he's going to get reelected after this here. Because this is embarrassing. People who voted for this have some mental illness that they need to get checked. Real talk. This guy, hey.
Okay,
That's
that's
a really
different
simple
from
question.
lobbying on behalf of.
It's a simple question. Are AIPAC's goals shaped by the goals of the Israeli government? And I'm just going to ask you a question straightforwardly. And if you say no, I think we both know that's not true.
Hey, are they shaped by? Is that?
Are they coordinating with the Israeli government?
Are they talking
to
with them?
represent
Yes.
the
Is
Israeli
Israel
government?
directing them? You want to talk about FARA? The law on lobbying on behalf of someone.
Yeah.
It is, I hire you and you lobby on behalf of me. I direct you. Does Israel direct AIPAC? No, they are not lobbying on behalf of them. Do they care about them? Yes, but
do you think that it's just interesting because what you're now describing in a very defensive way, I will say, is foreign.
He does these little like small little inserts, like, you know, you're being very defensive, you know, like these little tiny things right there creates and shapes the conversation. So with Tucker Carlson stating that, now you're in a mindset of Ted Cruz is being defensive over this one simple question. Really good debate tactic. And once again, when you're debating someone and you know they're lying to you, you know that they're just being that politician and they're beating around the bush, embarrass the hell out of them. They deserve it, simply.
Influence over our politics.
no.
And you began, and it's so transparently obvious to everybody. I don't know why you would be embarrassed of it. You've said that you are sincerely for Israel. I believe you. I don't think you have some weird agenda. You seem to be sincere.
By the way, Tucker, it's a very weird thing.
Uh-oh, here we go.
The obsession with Israel. When we're talking about foreign countries,
It's hardly an obsession.
you're not talking about Chinese. You're not talking about Japanese. You're not talking about the Brits. You're not talking about the French. The question, what about the Jews? What about the Jews?
Oh, I'm an anti-Semite now. Senator,
You're asking the question, Tucker. You're
told-
asking, why are the Jews controlling our foreign policy?
Senator,
That's what you just
I am
asked.
hardly saying that. And I have...
Hey, he just used a Republican talking point, a Republican attacking talking point to a fellow Republican. When Republicans or conservatives get pushed into a corner, especially when it comes to conversations with Israel, super PACs, them killing hundreds of thousands of innocent people, starting wars, like when they get defensive and can't like talk their way, conversate their way out of it, what do they say? Oh, you're an anti-Semitic. You hate the Jews. That's what it is. You just hate the Jewish people. I'm surprised he's not going to say, you don't think Israel has the right to defend itself? You don't think Israel should have their own nation state? I'm pretty sure like he's just going to throw anything and everything out there to get out of this awkward situation that he's in. And he's only in this situation because when you're receiving millions of dollars from anyone, it's you may even have the best intentions. It's just going to look bad when Israel is doing some shady shit right now and you're just like defending it. It just looks awkward. Like, are you defending it because you're getting paid? And if you really support them, you're really not doing a good job at doing that. So it must just be the money, because you can't articulate a valid common sense defense of what Israel is doing right now. And what Israel is doing right now is dragging the U.S. into a senseless war. But once again, I'm not a Middle East expert. You know what I'm saying? So what the hell do I know?
That is exactly what you just said.
Well, actually, I can speak for myself and tell you what I am saying.
Good.
On behalf not simply of myself, but of my many Jewish friends who would have the same questions, which is to what extent, and it's interesting you're trying to derail my questions by calling me an anti-Semite, which you are.
I did not.
Of course you are.
Yes,
and
you
and
are.
rather than be honorable enough to say it right to my face, you are in a sleazy, feline way implying it, or just asking questions about the Jews. I'm not asking questions about the Jews. There's nothing to do with.
Hey, take the gloves off, okay? That is shots fired. Shots fired. And once again, Tucker Carlson is a racist piece of okay? And Ted Cruz is a coward, okay? Is a Republican coward by every sense of the measure, okay? So these two I could care less about. But it's interesting to see these two idiots use their own talking points to attack each other. It's hilarious to me, and this needs to happen more. I need them to like destroy each other and just leave the country alone at this point. That's what I need.
Jews or Judaism. It has to do with the foreign government.
Isn't Israel controlling our foreign policy? That's not about the Jews.
You said, I'm asking.
And by the way, you're the one that just called me, I think, a sleazy feline. So let's be clear.
It's sleazy to imply that I'm an anti-Semite, which you just did.
No, I just said, why is that the only question you're asking? You answer it. Give me another reason. If you're not an anti-Semite, give me another reason why the obsession is Israel.
I am in no sense obsessed with Israel. We are on the brink of war with Iran. And so these are valid questions.
But you're not asking about Iran.
They're pulling us into a war. So why would we talk about China? Why would we talk about Mexico or Canada? This Israel is literally in the middle of this. So unfortunately, we got to talk about Israel. So makes sense, right? Guess not. I guess I'm an anti-Semite myself.
And finish. You asked me why I'm obsessed with Israel.
Yep.
3 minutes after telling me that when you first ran for Congress, you elucidated one of your main goals, which is to defend Israel.
Yes.
And I'm the one who's obsessed with Israel. I don't see a lawmaker's job as defending the interests of a foreign government, period. Okay. Any government, including the ones that my ancestors come from. So that's my position. That does not make me an anti-Semite. And shame on you for suggesting otherwise. I mean that. And that's low, and you know it's low.
Damn.
So why don't you just answer my questions in a straightforward, rational way? You certainly have the IQ to do it.
So shame on you is cute, by the way, Tuck.
Hey, Ted Cruz got the IQ of room temperature, okay? So, like, that's not really saying a lot right there. That wasn't a compliment, Ted Cruz. Right now, it's about 71 degrees in my crib right now because it's hot as hell in Colorado right now. That's his IQ level working right here in real time.
It is. It's not cute. I'm offended. I'm obsessed with the Jews. You just told me.
You just called me a sleazy feline.
It is sleazy to imply that I'm an anti-Semite for asking questions about how my government is run.
You want to count how many questions you asked about? What about the Jews? What about Israel? What about AIPAC?
I never asked about the Jews. This has nothing to do with the Jews, whatever that means. This has to do with a foreign government. And once again, shame on you for conflating the two.
But the one thing, Tucker, this is the one thing. All of a sudden, you guys are, why is our money? Why is our government? Why is our government spending so much time, focus, and energy, resources to Israel? Once again, I'm only 38. I really only been into politics for the past, maybe 8 years, you know? This is an ongoing thing. This just didn't happen a year ago, 4 years ago. This has been an ongoing thing. You see, so when Israel was bombing the hell out of Palestinian people, I didn't hear nothing from Republicans. Oh, Israel has the right to defend itself, blah, 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 all that stupid stuff. Got you. But now, as we've seen before, when Israel doesn't know when to stop or doesn't see the red lines and they purposely cross them, and America, Democrats and Republicans, continue to fund Israel, you guys say nothing. Oh, but now, got you. Okay, get out of here.
They have nothing to do with each other. I'm talking about the influence
Israel
of
and Jews have nothing to do with each other?
All Jews, or an attack on all Jews, which I am not, nor would I ever be undertaking now. I'm not attacking anybody.
By the way, that's who Iran wants to kill, is all the Jews and all the Americans.
And I'm totally opposed to that, okay? But now, because
except you don't want to do anything about it,
decisions need to be made.
We can talk about those decisions.
And I plan to.
Good.
But I just want to get a sense of whether you think, having described yourself as an America First person whose only criterion for judgment on foreign policy is America's national interest, to what extent you're influenced by a foreign government, which gives you a lot of money through its lobby, and you're claiming this has nothing to do with the foreign government. They're not coordinating. Yes, they're spying on us, but it doesn't bother you. And I'm sort of wondering, like, what is this? This is one of the weirdest conversations I've ever had.
I'll tell you what, and I'll answer any question you like, but let's try to...
Are you going to call me an anti-Semite again, or no?
Let's try to ratchet down the temperature a little.
You're the one who went to motive. I'm asking honest questions.
I'm
just asking questions. Yes, that's it. That is what I'm doing.
Let's try to ratchet down the temperature a little bit.
Picture the house of your dreams. Maybe it's got an...
Ay.
It was made.
Hey.
In half to a...
Oh my God.
The Murphy movie called
Wireless from Pure Talk.
And did you ever see an Eddie Murphy movie called The Distinguished Gentleman?
No.
It's a great movie. It's actually a fun comedy about politics. And Eddie Murphy in the movie is a con man who gets elected to Congress. And he's literally a con man who... The congressman dies, he has the same name, and so he runs and they get elected. And there's a scene in the movie where Eddie Murphy is a freshman member of Congress, and he's sitting down with a sleazy lobbyist. And he's asking the lobbyist, all right, what should my positions be on, I think they were talking about power plants and electrical transmission lines. And the lobbyist's like, well, what do you believe? And Eddie Murphy, as the con man, said, I don't care, whatever gets me the most money. I'll do whatever gets me the most money. And the lobbyist says, no. Pick a side. Doesn't matter what you pick. If you pick one side, we'll go shake down everyone who supports that side and they'll give you money. If you pick the other side, that's fine. We'll just go to the other side and shake down that. That's a little bit the way it works. And you often get...
Hey, his face, that's a ugly racist face right there. But that face says, what the hell what are you talking about? What? Okay. Oh, but answer my question, yes or no? Like... Hey, I've had that face plenty of times. Like,
get leftists in the media who say, for example, if you support the Second Amendment, as you do and I do, well, you're just bought and paid for by the NRA. And that actually is backwards. I believe in the Second Amendment because I believe in the Constitution. Now, am I proud that the NRA supports me? Sure, because people who care about the Second Amendment want to support leaders who fight for it. But it gets it backward. Look, AIPAC,
No, but the issue is if you see that it's a pandemic, it's an urgency that we have some sort of regulations on guns, because there's a crazy amount of mass murderings happening, and especially throughout our schools. It's an issue. It's a common trend. This is happening more than any other country. We have a problem. But you getting money from super PACs that support the Second Amendment, if you even hint at some sort of regulations, the NRA, for example, you hint at any regulations, they might cut off your funding. They might cut off your money. Your money, okay? That's the problem. That's why I and other people can't trust people who are receiving money like that. Because when push comes to shove and we got a crisis on our hands, I can't trust you to make a common sense decision. Because I don't know if it's you genuinely want to defend the Second Amendment, whatever that really means, or it's just the money. The money's talking. That's the problem, Ted Cruz. Mr. Ted Cruz.
I ran for the Senate. AIPAC didn't support me. I supported Israel before they supported me. I'm happy to have their support because they share my objective.
No, but you're missing it. I'm not suggesting that you're bought and paid for. I'm not saying that. I want to go back and take sincere.
I want to go back and take the transcript because you just said a minute ago, I'm slightly paraphrasing, but are you lobbying for a foreign government because they pay you a lot of money? That's basically what you said. So you are suggesting that.
Let me just be clear about what I think. Your views seem totally sincere.
Yes.
You take money from people who agree with you.
Yeah.
I believe that. I even
take money from people who disagree with me.
I'm only trying to get to the question of to what extent is the U.S. government influenced by other governments? And it's a lot.
Of course.
It's hardly just Israel. It's hardly just Israel. I don't think Israel's the main one. There are lots of governments. China is a massive influence on this city.
And it's a huge problem.
As you know, I couldn't agree more. And there are lots of other. The UK, which is a truly sinister place, in my opinion, as a ethnic Brit, I can say. I think that's my view. Maybe you disagree.
I think they're on the wrong path. I love the Brits, but their government has gone off the rails. Without even getting into that. I'm just saying I don't think Israel's the only one. But it's the only one where you're instantly called an anti-Semite for asking questions. And it's also the only government that no one will ever criticize.
Wow. Hey, that sounds familiar. What party has been saying that since I can remember? What party has been saying, hey, we should be able to critique Israel without being called anti-Semite? That's just kind of weird. I don't know. It's like progressive or something. I forget it. I don't know. Let's take a listen.
And people criticize Israel every minute of every day. Like the only government that people will not criticize, Rashida Tlaib just tweeted out calling Benjamin Netanyahu a war criminal.
Rashida Tlaib? No,
you said no one will criticize.
No, I'm talking about Republicans that I would vote for, including you.
Hey, there you go. Thank you. Don't say Rashida Tlaib because she ain't one of yous. She ain't one of you. Okay, what you talking about, sir? She ain't one of yous. I like that he had to point out a progressive to try to prove his point. He can't pull out one conservative, one politician, Republican, that is critiquing the hell since day one. Not now, because all of a sudden everybody wants to get on the train now. I'm talking about since day one. Can't name one since day one. Got you.
And I'm saying, whatever. I don't even like talking about Israel. What I care about, I never do, because it's not worth being called anti-Semites from AIPAC recipients. But now we are on the verge of joining a war, and I just want to be clear about why we're doing this.
Okay, so now they're going to get into more of the war conversation. And I just want to say this. This is a shameless plug, okay? So don't hate me, okay? I don't have sponsorships like Tucker Carlson here. Hey, what you need to do, fight against corporate tyranny and suppression. That's facts. And the only way to do that is to get lobbying, to get these super PACs out of our government. That's the only way you're going to achieve that. And after that is to purchase one of my shirts next week. Whenever you're watching this, it's going to be the following Friday, just for 1 week. Hey, facts. Fight against corporate tyranny and suppression. Okay, that's just a shameless plug. Don't hate me, okay?
All right, so
I'm sorry.
And let's get into Iran momentarily, but you suggested it was a strange thing that I said a minute ago, that when I came into the Senate, I resolved that I was going to be the leading defender of Israel. And what you didn't ask is why. So let me tell you why.
No, you said I was obsessed with Israel, and you had just told me that your driving motive to get to the Senate was to defend Israel. I'm like, I don't think I'm the one who's obsessed with Israel.
Okay,
I don't even think about Israel.
Tucker, words matter. And you know that. I said I resolved to be the leading defender of Israel, and you said your driving motive, the reason you're in the Senate.
You want to be the leading defender of Israel. I would think if I ran for Senate, I'd be like, there are people dying of drug ODs on the street.
My driving motive is to fight for Texas and America, and to fight for jobs, and to fight for the Constitution. And you played a very, very careful word game of a lie to you.
You're the one who said it, not me.
So you still haven't asked why, but I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
And the reason is twofold. Number one, as a Christian, growing up in Sunday school, I was taught from the Bible.
This is the the second reinforcements. Okay, once if your talking point of you're anti-Semitic, you're racist. You hate all Jewish people. You want all Jewish people to die and just, be obliterated off the planet. If that doesn't work, what is the second line of defense? Well, in the Bible, God. I'm surprised he didn't put on like a reverend voice. The Bible says we must befriend Israel and hate no. I'm sorry. I'm a Christian myself. Read my Bible from Genesis all the way to Revelations, from Revelations all the way to Genesis. I am a Bible-based, tongue-speaking Christian. Okay? Even this right here is some bullshit. Okay? I'm sorry. I'm sorry, God. If that's not how it is, I'm sorry. Forgive me. But this right here does not allow or doesn't give a green light for a country to, let alone kill hundreds of thousands of innocent people, starve them, occupy them for how long? And then now you want to start another war? That doesn't give you the green light, because I'm a Christian. And my Bible says, hey, we do a lot of things in the Bible that it says we shouldn't be doing. But we do it knowingly and not knowingly. But this right here, hey, Israel, you got to slow the F down here. I know God said, I got to love you, you my people, whatever the case is. I don't, that's a whole nother conversation if you really want to get into it. But Mr. Ted Cruz would be like, hey, Israel, I know we cool like that. I know the Bible brings us together, but hey, y'all got to slow the fuck down here. Y'all just killed a bunch of innocent people. Now y'all doing this? Give it like a year or two. Something down. Help me out. But no. You gotta, but the Bible says we gotta let Israel do whatever the hell they want to do. And I'm paraphrasing right there, but
Those who bless Israel will be blessed, and those who curse Israel will be cursed. And from my perspective, I want to be on the blessing side of things.
Of those who bless the government of Israel?
Those who bless Israel is what it says. It doesn't say the government of it, says the nation of Israel. So that's in the Bible. As a Christian, I believe that.
Where is that?
I can find it to you. I don't have the scripture off the tip of my. You pull out the phone and use the Google.
It's in Genesis. But so you're quoting a Bible phrase. You don't have context for it. And you don't know where in the Bible it is. But that's like your theology. I'm confused. What does that even mean?
Tucker,
I'm a Christian. I want to know what you're talking about.
Okay. Where does my support for Israel come from? Number one, because biblically we're commanded to support Israel. But number two,
hold on.
I'm not holding on.
Hold on. You're a senator, and now you're throwing out theology, and I am a Christian, and I am allowed to weigh in on this. We are commanded as Christians to support the government of Israel?
We are commanded to support Israel, and we're.
What does that mean?
What? Hey! Once again, Tucker is a racist piece of POS. Okay, but this right here is how you do it. This right here is how you do it. It's a little weird. We got to take notes from a racist like this. Hey, you a Christian? Oh, me too. Okay, I think we got the same Bible. So tell me, where in context does the scripture that you just quoted, how does that fit into the situation that we're in now? Please explain. In context. No, you can't. Oh, man. Making them look stupid. How is someone who is supporting Ted Cruz comfortable with still supporting Ted Cruz? Ted Cruz wouldn't even support Ted Cruz at this point. He wouldn't even vote for himself. His wife ain't gonna vote for him. His kids ain't gonna vote for him, bro. This is embarrassing. And I love it. Oh, I love it.
We're told those who bless Israel will be blessed.
But what? Hold on. Define Israel. This is important. Are you kidding? This is a majority Christian country.
Define Israel? Do you not know what Israel is? That would be the country you've asked like 49 questions about.
So that's what Genesis, that's what God is talking about.
The nation of Israel, yes.
And so is that the current borders, the current leadership? He's talking about the political entity called Israel?
He's talking about the nation of Israel. Yeah, nations exist, and he's discussing a nation. A nation was the people of Israel.
Is the nation
They're the
God's
descendants of
referring
Abraham.
to in Genesis, is that the same as the country run by Benjamin Netanyahu right now?
Yes.
It is. Okay.
And by the way, it's not run by Benjamin Netanyahu as a dictator. It's a democratic country that elected.
He's the prime minister.
Right.
What?
But just like, America is the country run by Donald Trump. No, actually, the American people elected Donald Trump. The same principle
This is
there.
silly. I'm talking about the political entity of modern Israel.
Yes, and that is
You believe
Israel.
that's what God was talking about
Yes.
in Genesis.
I do, but
That country's existed since when?
for thousands of years. Now, there was a time when it didn't exist, and then it was recreated just over 70 years ago.
I'm saying, I think most people understand.
That is incorrect. But once again, I got to check my notes. But it's not correct.
That line in Genesis to refer to the Jewish people, God's chosen people.
That's not what it says.
Okay, Israel, but you don't even know where in the Bible it is. So I don't know if we can.
I don't remember the scriptural citation. But, okay,
It's like Genesis 16 or something like that. But yes, it's in the earlier part of the book. But the point is,
all right, Tucker, you keep interrupting me before I finish my sentence.
It's just important to know what you're talking about. I don't know what so you're saying as a Christian, if I believe in Jesus, I have to support the modern state of Israel?
No, I'm not saying that.
That's what it is. On everything, that's what it is. I grew up in that environment for whatever reason, and my grandfather is still one of those people. I grew up, didn't even know where Israel was on the map, and I had that inkling, like, I support Israel. It's like in fresh in high school, like I kind of had that in the back of my mind. Didn't know why, couldn't tell you why, but like that's what other people said. So you kind of thought that was one of the things, you got to confess your sins. You got to accept Jesus Christ as your savior, and you support Israel. That's simple. You know what I'm saying? But if that's what you truly believe, you should be able to articulate in detail on your reasoning behind it. You can't just say a scripture out of context or not in context and think that's an explanation, because it's not. And when you get pressed even by a little bit by a racist POS, like, oh boy, Tucker, you have no idea what the hell you're talking about.
I'm explaining for me what my motivation is.
But so I'm just trying to understand. You said God tells you to support the modern state of Israel in the Bible, in some place in the Bible that you heard about, but you don't know where it is. That's your theology?
You're going back, am I a sleazy feline again? I mean,
if you accuse me of anti-Semitism again, I will say that, but I don't think you will.
Try to be a little less condescending. I'm trying to have a conversation.
Condescending. You're throwing this stuff out, and it's my job to figure out what you're talking about, but I don't understand.
But you're not letting me.
Okay.
Now, can you imagine if Tucker Carlson actually interviewed Trump in his early stages before he is transitioning into a dictator? These type of questions here, when someone asked Donald Trump what was his favorite Bible verse, and he was like, all of them are my favorite. They're all my favorite. Well, what's one of your favorite ones? I don't know. It's a personal thing. That's a personal question. Like, no, dummy. No, I'm sorry. That was BS. Trump is not a Christian. He is not a Christian. I don't give a damn what you say, what you think. He's not a Christian. But he fools so many Christians out there. This type of energy, if Tucker Carlson, this POS right here, was a real genuine person, he would have brought that fire to everybody, to every Republican. But he didn't, because he's a POS. So
I'm sorry, I want to be polite.
That is, for me, a personal motivation. But I also, what I was about to say, I don't believe my personal faith, not everyone who I represent is a Christian, it's not an argument for me to give that we should do this because of my faith. And so as an elected official, I don't give that as the reason we should support Israel. That is a personal motivation for me, but I don't think it is the reason we should. The reason that I am the leading defender of Israel is because Israel is our strongest ally in the Middle East, an incredibly troubled part of the world, and supporting Israel benefits America. And the clearest illustration of that is what is happening right now. Let me just make this point, and then
and then I'll just ask what you mean. That's it.
Okay. Yeah. Look, Iran, I think the most acute national security threat facing America right now is the threat of a nuclear Iran. I think China is the biggest long-term threat, but acute and near-term is a nuclear Iran.
Okay.
And I think Israel is doing a massive favor to America right now by trying to take out Iran's nuclear capacity. And the reason I view Iran differently, we talked before about Iraq. I opposed the Iraq war. We talked about Syria. I opposed military intervention in Syria. The reason for that is those did not pose a threat to the United States. I think Iran is markedly different. Number one, the Ayatollah is a religious zealot. He is a lunatic, but a particularly dangerous kind of lunatic because he's driven by religious fervor. When he says death to America and death to Israel, I believe him. And I think Iran is trying to get a nuclear weapon because there is a very real possibility they would use a nuclear weapon. So you want to ask, how does supporting Israel benefit us? Right now, this tiny little country, the size of the state of New Jersey, is fighting our enemies for us and taking out their top military leadership and trying to take out their nuclear capacity. That makes America much safer.
So the president has said repeatedly Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, and he will do whatever it takes to stop Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. He said that like 100 times. He clearly means it. I think he will use force to effect that if he feels he has to. I think he's been really clear about that. I don't know, but it seems that way. Do you feel that? Do you think that's correct?
Whether he would use force to stop a nuclear weapon, I think he has put that option on the table.
He certainly suggested. I mean, I have literally no idea what's going to happen, but just reading his statements, he's made that really clear.
So what he has been very clear about, and I spoke with the president on Sunday, is he has been very clear to Iran that if they attack U.S. servicemen and women, there will be real consequences and I think very serious military response.
By the way, this is a sidebar, but I just can't resist. The Prime Minister of Israel said that Iran tried to assassinate Donald Trump twice.
Yeah, I read your newsletter this morning,
But do you believe that's true?
I think it was sort of a word game. What is true is Iran is trying to assassinate Donald J. Trump, and they have hired hitmen. Now, you pointed out...
No, he said that they have tried twice to kill him, and I don't know that... I don't have any evidence that's true, but I sort of wonder if that is true. Why aren't we...
It's kind of weird, Tucker asking for evidence. I made so many clips about Tucker Carlson. It's like you have zero or very light, obscured evidence to support the crazy that he be saying. So it's just kind of just weird to hear this guy, we don't have the evidence, so I really don't want to support or accept that claim of X, Y, and Z. Just a little weird to me.
You're worth them already.
Okay. And I read your newsletter this morning, and I thought it was playing word games to draw a political point.
How's that a word game? It's my president.
Can I tell you?
Yeah, please.
Okay. You rightly pointed out there's no evidence that this clown in Butler, Pennsylvania, who shot the president was working for the Iranians. I don't think he was. There's no evidence of that. Although I would like to know more about who he was and what's going on. But I don't find it plausible that he was working for the Iranians. So, was that caused by the Iranians? No. But what is true, and what your newsletter didn't acknowledge, is it true or false that Iran is currently trying to murder Donald J. Trump and has paid hitmen to do so?
Well, that's the question, and I don't know the Butler, Pennsylvania thing.
Pennsylvania.
Let's just put that aside. I don't know.
So Netanyahu misspoke when he said those two assassinations were because of Iran. But what he was saying that is right is they're actively trying to murder Donald J. Trump.
Is there? Okay, so you're aware of a plot to kill Trump?
Yes. That Iran is paying for. And by the way...
Wait, when?
It has been over the last, I'd say, 18 months to 2 years.
In the United States?
In the United States, yes. And let me point out...
Has anyone been arrested?
For the Trump attempted assassination, no. But they are also actively paying Iranian hitmen to murder Mike Pompeo when he was President Trump's first Secretary of State, the first term, rather. John Bolton, when John Bolton was National Security Advisor to President Trump, and a guy named Brian Hook, who was Assistant Secretary of State.
Right.
During the Biden administration.
Wait, but hold on. Can we go back to Donald Trump because he's the president? No, it's a big deal. What do you mean? When no one has been arrested for these assassination attempts on Trump.
Yes.
They've hired hitmen. How do we know that?
All right, let me break it down. People have been arrested. So the reason I brought up Pompeo, Bolton, and Hook, who are under active assassination attempts because of their service in the first Trump administration, under the Biden
administration. Well, they say that. I've never seen any evidence of it.
Can I give you the evidence?
Well, let's just stick with Trump.
No, because these are interrelated. So let me make a bloody point. Under the Biden administration, the State Department was spending $2 million a month providing security for Pompeo, Bolton, and Hook. And they did arrest Iranian hitmen at John Bolton's apartment complex who rented, I think, the apartment next to him and were actively trying to assassinate him, and they went and arrested them. So, yes, they caught Iranian hitmen. Now, it so happens Iran's not very good at it. And so they are actively trying. And in fact,
but what about Trump? He's the president. If there's a plot to kill Trump by the Iranians.
Okay, so you dispute that the Iranians are trying to kill Trump?
Of course. I mean, that's the most important question. The Prime Minister of Israel just said there have been 2 assassination attempts against Donald Trump by the Iranians. And I think it's a very fair question, maybe you disagree, to ask, what are you talking about?
Okay, and I agree with you that he misspoke.
So there weren't those 2 attempts?
There were 2 attempts, but the clown in Butler, Pennsylvania, and the other guy on the golf course were not connected to the Iranians. That's the part that he misspoke. But by the way, when you speak all the time, occasionally, what he said that was accurate is that Iran is actively trying to murder Donald J. Trump and has paid hitmen.
But he is asking for the proof. And once again, I got a lot on my plate. I don't really care about the guy next to the other guy who rented an apartment. Sound like a bad movie to me. But where's the proof that Iran is trying to assassinate Donald Trump? That's what this guy wants to know. I want to know too. But he is not giving that. We know why, because he is paid for it.
But, right? Okay, that's fine.
And he was conflating it with the 2 attempts.
I understand. But I just want to pull that thread because it's so important. I voted for Donald Trump. I campaigned for Donald Trump. Yeah. He's our president. And we're on the cusp of a war. So if there's evidence that Iran paid hitmen to kill Donald Trump and is currently doing that, where's that? Like, what are you even talking? I've never heard that before.
Okay.
Where's the evidence? Who are these people? Why haven't they been arrested? Why are we not at war with Iran?
That's a great question to ask.
How do you know that that's true?
We know that it's true because we have been told that by the military and our intelligence community for the last 2 years.
We meaning who?
Congress has and the public. I mean, we had multiple testimonies. I can send you testimony.
Do we know the names of the people or where this happened or what they tried to do to kill Trump?
We do not. We have not apprehended an Iranian hitman trying to kill him. We know that Iran is trying to do so.
In the United States?
Yes. And by the way, like Iran put out...
So you're telling me that Donald Trump is trying to round up all the immigrants because it's a war within our borders, but there's an active assassination or a country is trying to actively assassinate the president, and Donald Trump isn't upset about that? I think he would be in war at day one if that was true. He thinks we're at war with immigrants who are working on farms and trying to get jobs at Home Depot. But not, it's just a little weird to me. Once again, it doesn't seem consistent.
Seems like a huge headline, and you're acting like everyone knows this. I didn't know that.
Iran put out a whole video about murdering Trump.
Right, but I've never heard evidence that there are hitmen in the United States. I mean, trying to kill Trump right now. We should have a nationwide dragnet on this, and we should attack Iran immediately if that's true. Don't you think?
No.
If they're trying to assassinate our president?
They have been for 2 years.
Then why are we in a war with them?
Well, we are trying to
Why don't we just nuke Tehran if they're trying to murder our president? There's nothing that you could do that would be worse for the United States than murdering Trump. And I just don't
Amen. I
understand
agree with
why
that.
you're not calling for the use of nuclear weapons against the Ayatollah right now. I'm serious. If you really believe they're trying
The
to
use
murder
of nuclear weapons, see,
whatever
that's part
it
of the
takes.
problem of. So
what do you mean? You don't seem to take the allegations seriously. I do. If you believe they're trying to murder Trump, we need to stop what we're doing and punish them.
Can I ask something? And I mean this sincerely. So, all right, 20 years ago,
Oh man, this is
you were, I think it's fair to say, in the interventionist world. You were a vocal,
Big time.
You
Big
were
time.
a vocal defender of the Iraq War.
I was a promoter of the Iraq War.
And you now, and look, I think you were mistaken. I think you were mistaken. That's okay. Look, people change and learn, and that's part of the journey of being human. Your views have moved, though. In my view, they've gone way too far the other end. And
no, go ahead and say it. He has gone woke, right? Like just go out, just pretend like he's a Democrat and just say those same talking points. Oh, you gone woke, right? And you hate the Jewish people and you don't think they should be able to exist. And yeah, just go ahead and say that. Stop wasting people's time.
and so
I'm
I just
totally
want to ask
confused.
why.
I'm saying, hold on. Wait, this is one of the weirdest conversations I've ever had. I'm saying if it's true that Iran is trying to murder Trump, we need to move militarily against Iran immediately. That's not isolationism. That's that's a call to violence, which I am calling for. If we believe that Iran is trying to murder our president, we need to strike Iran.
Okay, but isolationists say things like, well, then just nuke them, which is what you just said, which is kind of a weird...
Because I'm upset, because I'm taking you seriously. You don't take your own statements seriously.
I take my statements very seriously.
So I've asked you, where's the evidence this is true? And you said, well, they're trying to assassinate Brian Hook or something, which I'm against, by the way. I'm against hurting any American, period, no matter...
So you dispute that they're trying to murder
I'm not disputing
Hook,
it at
Pompeo,
all.
and Bolton?
I'm not disputing it at all.
They literally arrested the hitman with Bolton.
I don't know why that's even relevant. I'm asking about the president of the United States.
Wait, it's not relevant that Iran hired hitmen to murder cabinet members in Trump's administration? That doesn't go to
I've already
how credible
said
is it that they're
I'm
willing to spend money to do
totally
that?
opposed to that. It's awful. I am against killing anybody, actually, and
Okay, I'm
especially
not.
foreign government. Okay. I'm asking about your allegation and the Prime Minister of Israel's allegation that
And let me be clear,
Iran
I'm
is trying to
emphatically for
murder the
killing our enemies.
president.
Killing terrorists is a good thing. Killing people who are trying to murder Americans is a good thing. Because if you're America first, you want to protect America. And so killing Osama bin Laden was a fantastic
But you don't
day
really
for the
believe
world.
that they're trying to murder Trump, or you?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Then why aren't you calling for military action against Tehran right now?
Because they're not very effective. In terms of hitmen, their hitmen are not very effective. I do think...
So they're hitmen, but not the bad kind, the efficient kind?
No,
what are
they're
you
just-
saying?
They're hitmen, but they're not really good hitmen. So we don't really need to do anything about it because they're just going to like trip over their own shoes, right? So like we could just ignore them. Like I said, this was very bad for Ted Cruz. And there is no way that someone can take him seriously after this. To me, in my opinion, he is done. Like Donald Trump already like took his manhood, you know, when he clowned him and his wife and all that. And now he's just at the ball sack of Donald Trump. That's already like 60% of his being just stripped away from him. And Tucker Carlson just now just finished him off. Ted Cruz is just a name at this point. And I don't know who can take him seriously. Like, it's done. But once again, guys, this is already like an hour, almost an hour video. If you made it this far, let me know in the comments. I want to hook you guys up with a free shirt. If you made it this far, let me know in the comments. I want to hook you up. But once again, guys, if you agree or disagree with me or anything I said in this video, let me know in the comments down below or hit that blue sky link in the description down below so we can have that one-on-one talk. And like always, let's have that conversation.
I've been wanting this shit forever. I've been in the field with whatever they throw at me. Brush it off, pick myself up, moving on to the better. Hey. Ain't no errors, baby, it's a new era. I wake up early, feeling rich like I'm Kesha. I get to the paper, boy. Extra, extra.